got lots of people sign up to read something. So I haven't done this before, so if I do it wrong, let me know afterwards. So anyway, I think we'll just get started. It's awesome to be able to come here to Emporia State and do things like this. So anyway, I've got Dr. Kevin Ravis starting us out.
Oh no, hello.
So I'm just going from the bottom up.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna take my coat off. Oops, sorry about that.
It's off camera, you're okay.
Yeah. Okay, here it comes.
Here he is.
Okay, I'm going to read off of my phone. Only the second time I read off of my phone, so bear with me here. Kids. The bar hardtop has gashes and scratches. I kick snow from my boots, which pools. When I take off my jacket, first time out in years, 2 Hot Wheel cars and a pair of kid mittens fall onto the bar top. Kids, I think, always with you. And for years I was a lifeguard. They put in a pool about 200 yards from where my parents lived, and so I could walk. I could go from my bed to up in the chair in 7.5 minutes and clock in between. So it was a good job as a teenager. So this is kind of like almost pool romance. Pool ring. Sonia came up from the water with a ring on. Thad had proposed in the water, and she'd gone under and then said yes at guard station number 4. Her shift spent, her tube and cup left. You know, I loved her. Sonia ruffled my hair when she went that night. The pool lights humming, blue and green, my hair wet, my hands hot as pavement, as sand and glass, as chlorine tank, as stone left all day in the sun.
Yeah.
I'll just read one more short poem. You know, I talk a lot about how imagery includes all the 5 senses, and this one's called tactile, which is the sense of touch. Run a hand over limestone, ocean all dried up. Touch rust gingerly, its wings, its mushroom rims want skin. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, we have Cheryl Henry.
Okay, I was going to read fiction, and then I realized I didn't want to read fiction after all, but those were the ones with the twist, so these are kind of twistless. The twist is there's no twist, as Kurt said. So this one is called Gravity. Where would we be without gravity? Hey, that's not a rhetorical question. Where would we be without Earth's mighty pull? Gravity ensures that no one leaves this planet. Not without effort, anyway. A great deal of effort. And rocket fuel. The planet does not want us to leave. Have you ever wondered why that is, my fellow captives? This one is called At the River. After the ceremony, waiting for their shoes to dry, the couple sat on the grassy riverbank. I do, she said again for fun. I do, he said, smiling. Wait, was this a wedding or a baptism, she asked, tilting her head in curiosity. Same thing, he said. We go underwater and promise everything. You, me, eternity. We do, we did, we will. I really like the bear, she said. I mean the minister who read us our vows. Yes, he said, the preacher had a nice growl to his voice, and he gave us that friendly wave as he stepped into the woods. Here we are, she said, Mr. and Mrs. Cheers, he said, raising his champagne and clinking his glass against hers. They sat together for a long time, silent, side by side, shoulders touching, They watched the stream splash against the boulders, its spray catching the light of the sun. This one is called Luna. Ours was an alien invasion. Buzz, Neil, they landed in their eagle right there in the Sea of Tranquility, or Mare Tranquillitatis, if you prefer the Latin. Oh, and there was that other guy, Michael Collins, orbiting in the getaway vehicle. Down the ladder, one step for man, Neil kicking up dust as best he could on a sphere with no atmosphere. The dust, when space booted, flew up in the shape of a rose petal, Neil said later. They walked on the moon, but we can only ooh and ah from afar, awed always at this golden gift to the night. She has no light of her own, mirroring that of the sun. But we don't care, it's the moon. Our lovely Luna pulls emotions, pulls the tides, pulls blood. We look for the moon, no matter if she's half full or half empty, or if she shows up at 9:15. Some mornings the moon is glued flat against the pale blue sky, a fragile white shell that would surely shatter if a high-pitched operatic note slipped into outer space.
Thank you, that was cool. Deborah, for a second. Come on down.
Okay, I'm not actually reading poetry. It's a dramatic monologue, and some of you've heard it before. I haven't read it for a long time. Okay, I wrote it in Amy's class when I was taking her class, and this one is The Rant. The great outdoors. Yes, of course, I would love spending 3 days sleeping on the ground with only a thin mesh between me and the cold, hard earth. Who wouldn't? And cooking over an open campfire with minimal utensils and cutlery is my dream kitchen. Who needs a burner when you can turn a can upside down on hot ash and live the paleo life? Cavemen are sexy, right? Hunt, gather, lead me into the woods, you big hairy man. Let's learn to live on dandelions and edible greens. We can fish for our protein. And just for kicks, I think we should get matching spears and give spear fishing a stab. That should make him feel like a real man. I'll read up on herbal remedies for West Nile and snakebite. We'll be ready for anything. I don't think we should even take a fishing boat. No, we can build a raft and get our daily workouts in perfect harmony with nature and each other. We can just row around the river building muscle and bonding. And who's worried about weather? A little rain, wind, or hail, or even a tornado can't scare me away. I dare God to send anything we can't handle. In fact, why limit ourselves to 3 days? Let's spend a week or two. What better way to say I love you than waking up next to another human that smells like dirty socks and sweat? Not 1 day, but 3 whole days without bathing or washing our hair. That mixture of mud, fish scales, and guts is calling my name. Give me that cane pole and let me show you how to really use it. Sticking my hand into a can of writhing worms, then lacing one on a hook and watching it squirm is the epitome of excitement for me. The only thing that tops that is cutting off the head of the fish we catch, splitting them open, scraping out the innards onto the mossy earth, then smelling their roasting flesh over an open fire and savoring every last bite with a muddy, fishy taste before snuggling up on the hard ground with, who's he kidding anyway? Does he think he's Tarzan and I'm Jane? How can he think I would want to spend our first anniversary stinking up the wilderness? Why would this man who claims to love me put me through this When I said we should make love under the stars, I meant sneaking into the planetarium and getting a quick one, not laying on my back on a bed of rocks in some God-forsaken wilderness. He said he wanted to go rock climbing. I thought it was code for diamond hunting at the nearest Tiffany and Company. Oh, who am I trying to kid? No one's ever going to want me. I'm never going to have that little house with a white picket fence, am I? I'm destined to be someone's living nurse, giving sponge baths and cleaning up drool, the spinster that just waits on others. My eulogy will be, she gave her all, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. She took care of everyone else's children, but never had one of her own. She couldn't bring herself to tolerate a few days of discomfort for a life of ease. What? My phone? Give it to me. Hello? Yes, I want to camp. Take me camping.
Okay, thanks, Deborah. I have Brenda White coming up next.
Yeah. Snapper's not very loud there.
Oh, you may not want him to be. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to do two old and two new. The first one is called Lost and Found. One day I left my head somewhere. I removed it to make adjustments, probing gears through eye sockets and ear canals. Then I set aside this object of faulty wiring, of jangling noises from misaligned parts, and left my head to pursue heart-streaming inclinations. Weeks later, when I meant to slap myself awake or kickstart the apparatus, my fingers discovered it was gone. Imagine my despair. The whoosh of my hand against air was more than disconcerting, my head lost like a glove or set of keys. Somewhere 2 eyes were staring at fluorescent lights from some bin of assorted misplacements, pins and spare glasses, entangled in the stringy mesh of hair I had not combed since I lost my head. Would someone else claim this baggage? Use it for a planter? A conversation piece? Perish the thought. So I let my body bungle toward that bend, knocking funny bone and ankles on what my fingers could not feel. Yes, eventually I found my head and stuck it on with crazy glue. Not quite, but nearly good as used. Okay. This is called Outside Lavina's Pet Store. Grandma pulls a semi-automatic from her bag, randomly assails patrons at the mall's courtyard eatery who were looking for gray vacuums and car mufflers. "Lavina took my little baby," she screams. And as one man dives to take his brother's bullets, the baby, a gray dog, runs away dragging orange neon behind him like a comet's tail. Meanwhile, someone subdues Grandma with a Vulcan pinch. Tied up in a Sears and Company plastic bag, she's left at the return counter. No receipt, no return address, nothing happy about it. Just the buzz of a kazoo as she exhales inside the bag. At the eatery tables, the same man cradles his brother, pleading, "We'll never eat at this mall again. All of our old baseball cards are yours." The dog is returned and laps from the puddle of spilled Coke, his leash a lifeless snake. "I can see up that girl's dress," murmurs the wounded man. "She's wearing boxer shorts with little blue stars on them. Looks just like heaven." Okay, this one's called Going to Town on a Pogo Stick, and this is for Cheryl, because she gave us the prompt. Going to town on a pogo stick. First of all, let's make this quick. Eggs, bread, milk, and pancake mix. Washing soap, toilet bowl cleaner, 3 pounds ground beef, though chicken's leaner. Green peppers, radishes, salad dressing, maybe some sugar, I'm only guessing. Frozen dinners, laxatives, cooking sherry, vanilla yogurt, peach and blueberry, bamboo skewers, herbe de Provence, cat litter, dog treats and flavors she wants, bananas, kiwis, grapes, and tomatoes, a 2-pound bag of russet potatoes, all laced to be tight as one can gird, and home with my staples, shaken, not stirred. I think most everybody in the writers' group's heard this one a couple times. Oh, well, I don't have a dedication on it, Curtis, but you're the reason it's here. So,
Yeah.
Far Side Love at World's End. Arlene dons her favorite A-line dress and pearls the size of big cherries for her blind date at Rainbow's End Saloon. She plans to take her best friend Sylvia to meet an astrophysicist and his used car salesman brother. Arlene will know her date by the meat-eating orchid on his lapel and his copy of A Brief History of Time tucked under his left arm. They will rumba, samba, and tango till the cows go home to Farmer Brown. And they will mistake the stars in their eyes for love everlasting, neither recognizing reflective glints of a mushroom cloud blooming in the dawn.
Sorry, you're right. My phone is.
I figured it was mine, because they don't give women real pockets, so my stuff falls out all the time.
These pants don't have a pocket.
Brenda, you should write a poem on that.
Not having big enough pockets?
Yeah, pockets and,
People throwing cell phones at you, trying to trip you.
Oh,
yeah, there's lots of stuff there.
well, it would last longer than roses.
True.
And that, on that cue, Charity.
All right. Well, I have two things. One to warm you up, one to cool you off. Okay. This is called In Our Minds. Slowly touching. Fingers glide over all that divides us. Lifting the covers, I breathe deep of your fragrance. Eyes closing, lips parting, rising to meet you. Devouring your essence, then wiping my face with a napkin, enjoying my lunch. Okay, and the second one was inspired by, it was inspired by a meme, so this is not all original. However, the majority of it is. So I give you caption. Caffeine, 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 caffeine. Please don't take my sanity from me. Caffeine, 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 caffeine. No, I'm not awake, and life won't wait for me. Your power is beyond compare, brewed injected in the air with pounding heart and burning eyes, caffeine. You calm my mind, the rage it dies. Your presence makes me seem so wise, and I can't function without you, caffeine. I talk about you in my sleep. There's nothing I can do to keep from crying when I'm out of coffee beans. And I can't easily understand how quick you make me comprehend how you make thoughts into sentences. Caffeine. Caffeine, caffeine, caffeine. No, please don't take my sanity from me. Caffeine, 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 caffeine. I'm begging you to set my brain free. Now you could take the morning off. Caffeine defense won't get me off if pacifism runs from me, caffeine. I had to have this talk with you. My sanity depends on you. Your presence in my coffee cup, caffeine. Caffeine, 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 caffeine. Don't leave me with an empty coffee can. Caffeine, 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 caffeine. Oh, I'm begging you, stay here in my head. Caffeine, caffeine.
I buy the CD.
Right. I buy it. I guess I'm next. I think. So that was cool. Gives me a new appreciation for coffee.
I'm glad.
Well, I love coffee already, so there was a. So, well, so I, holding to the spirit of the event, I have the one piece in the book that kind of beats it. I didn't mark it, so here I am doing this. If I can find it, give me. Sorry. Old bones. Okay. Eugene pulled out his pipe, pushed the dark brown tobacco into the bowl, and struck a wooden red-tipped match with shaky, soiled hands. Great puffs of smoke danced a ghostly dance around a single glowing lamp. Wiping his brow with a yellow handkerchief, his eyes fell to the bucket sitting by his side, took another pull from his favorite pipe, and asked Willie Miles what they should do with the thing in the bucket resting by Eugene's brown leather boot. Do we call the law or just talk to the preacher? Eugene sat and waited, eager for an answer, pipe smoke collecting like gray clouds on the ceiling. Willie Miles would have no lawman snooping around his place. Running shine in Missouri when he was young taught him that no good comes from talking to the law or pert near anyone. And finding a human bone under your home, well, that sort of thing was best kept from everyone. Willie took a bite of biscuit, chased it down with black coffee from his steel cup, and with a sigh began to speak. No telling how it got there, Gene. No sense in making a ruckus. Now you take that there bone, put it back where you found it, cover it up and don't tell Edna, or anyone who might want to hear it. She gets all anxious, and Miles' business is no one's to know. Anyhow, nothing under heaven is worth the fuss she'll make over that thing you found in the ground under this here house. Willie pulled rolling papers from his pocket and prepared to roll a smoke, turning from Eugene and leaving the whole of it with his empty cup and biscuit crumbs. So Eugene rose from his chair, and back to the crawl space he went, with the old leg bone sitting in the bucket, gripped firmly in his shaky, soiled hand. The old bone Eugene found was placed back into the space it was found. The plumbing got fixed, and it was never spoken of again. So this next one's not really a twist, but it's been kind of something that's consumed my life for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I went to Oklahoma and did a gravel race at Stillwater. It was really hard, hardest thing I've ever done in my life physically. 103 miles of hills and more hills and mud and more hills and more mud. And I wrecked my lady, jacked my shoulder up. Now I'm doing physical therapy at the hospital, but I finished. But so I've been dealing with the ride and feeling this mix of happiness that I finished and then dealing with physical ramifications of jumping on a bike and riding it 100 miles. Holding dirt crap. Anyway, this is called Stained Red. 28 degrees, human mass, gravel bikes, red golden disc, breaking through brilliant blue Oklahoma sunrise. Cannon blast starts the test. Soul-searching, life-affirming, pedal strokes over red dirt miles. Rolling rattlesnake hills, steep climbs, legs scream, mind bleeds mud, red soulful robes, whining thoughts wander. The chute lights find tired eyes, Bobby's hug, wrapped around those red dirty few who grew. 103 hard miles, stained red in our memory. That's all I got. So, Mr. Curtis Becker.
All right, I just have one this evening, and many of you may have heard versions of this. This is the closest thing I have to a twist or a trick. This one is called Snakes on the Plains, and it's spelled Plains. All right. The sea of prairie grass dancing in the breeze. The boy waded in, tentatively, pant legs rolled up, his bare pink toe pointed gingerly toward the unknown, his shoes discarded haphazardly on the manicured lawn where Mom said to play close to home because of snakes out there. However, the boy's best friend insisted, emphatically, Charlie's wagging tail encouraged, mesmerized. His cold, wet nose, rough but soft, nuzzled the boy at times, gently. Chided thoughts of retreat. Immediately, the duo waded into the grass, boldly, deeper, darker, fading from view, gracefully. The boy, up to his waist, awkwardly. Charlie, drowning in fans of green, peacefully. The fans sprayed from tops of prairie grass, magically. The snakes on the plains, watching. The slithering denizens of the prairie were aware. Of the 4 furry paws, aware. Of the 2 delicate feet, aware of a boy barely old enough to spell his own name. His life precious to Mom and to Dad and to Charlie, his foolish friend. Snakes are aware. The dog waded into the deep, majestically. The boy, emboldened by success, followed. His feet fragile, soft, delicate, exposed. The rusty tractor stood, sentinel, on the sea of green, waving. A tired old barn sighed as the duo came and went quickly. The old oaks watched patiently as the barn cats toyed with a mouse, lazily, its delicate feet and body to become quickly the clouder's next treat. A boy's favorite thing is to go where he has never gone before, into the sea, triumphantly, on an adventure, pressing his limits constantly, losing himself in his best friend, always, and becoming a man, suddenly, with each rite of passage. Sometimes men swim with sharks courageously, and come out unscathed, amazingly. Not because they should, sometimes they just do.
Thank you, Curtis. We got Gina.
And Tracy.
And Tracy, yes, sorry. A duo. A duet.
I'm Tracy, she's Jane. We decided to do something a little different this time. A twist in the tale. What Humble beginnings.
Country kids, working class families.
2 women.
Nearly half a century old. Oh my God.
Mothers.
There was no choice. There was a choice. No regrets.
Wives.
We were just kids when it all began, but there is no shame in marrying your best friend.
Different paths in life.
Are we really so different though?
Similar, but unique.
Well, she's unique. I'm so plain I can be invisible.
One contrarian, one self-taught.
Wait, which one of us is she talking about?
Always learning, seeking.
Damn straight, always.
But what comes next?
Isn't that always the question?
Difficulties?
But let's not admit that. No one needs to know.
Dark days. Struggles overcome.
And some still overcoming.
Circumstance and accident.
Though I hate to admit that anything is less than intentional.
Readers.
Been dreaming of writing books as long as we've been reading them.
Writing.
Started plotting scenes as soon as we could pick up pencils.
Research.
And research, and research, and research.
Divergent and convergence.
Well, she does write about vampires. I'm afraid of vampires. But the main character in my work in progress does have a spooky sense of the future.
Authors.
Names on book covers. Can't you smell the paper?
Publishers.
We got skills.
Editors.
As girls who read, there is a need.
There is a twist in the tale.
The best tales always have one.
We followed different roads
Though have crossed common ground a surprising number of times.
and met along the way.
I think a time or two before we were officially introduced.
But our journey's just begun.
And new journeys are so much fun.
Goals and accomplishments.
We challenge each other and we accept.
As unique as we are,
Gosh, there's that word again. Embrace it.
we strive to reach them.
It's good to have friends to urge us on.
Always moving forward. It's nice to know I'm not the only one still getting there. Life's full to the brim.
So true. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning.
Dishes and laundry.
Do they ever end?
Family and friends.
For better or for worse.
Days stuffed with mundane.
You too? It's not just me.
Books are soulless.
True that.
Refuge against the world.
Some days more than I care to admit.
Secret worlds.
Like treasures, there's so much yet to discover.
Hidden within sight.
At least 6 books open on my bedside table right now.
Encouraging budding authors.
Bloom, fellow writer, bloom.
Age notwithstanding.
That's a half century each of wisdom and wit we've got under our belt so far.
Welcomed into the fold.
No rejects here, all are welcome.
Mentors, friends, and readers.
Isn't it great? She doesn't look at me like I'm crazy because I want to write.
Each manuscript a journey.
Another amazing journey.
Through time and space.
And mind and place.
Reality and fantasy.
So real, so wild.
Stories and history.
Savored, captured, shared.
Guiding, teaching.
Prodding, reaching.
Providing examples and,
So many creative sparks to ignite and share.
whether good or bad,
No judging here,
ideas for change.
because a second set of eyes is always helpful.
Familiar places,
My work in progress takes place on her back roads,
new territories,
but I made a lot of it up, so she barely recognized the place.
alien landscapes,
Sometimes all the way from outer space.
earthly soil.
For growing things, for burying people.
Adventures and challenges,
That's what keeps us going as writers.
pain and change.
If it were easy, it wouldn't be nearly as fun.
Pushes, shapes, creates.
It's art,
Personal growth.
and it feeds our souls,
Living so many lives.
all within one lifetime,
Solving problems.
both real and those that we make up.
Battling evil.
Let's take it down.
Fighting for good.
My superhero cape is ready.
It is not stagnation
There's no time for that.
or avoidance of reality,
Well, some days a little avoidance is a good thing.
but seeing things through different eyes,
Rewrite reality, fix it, make it better.
allowing insight into our lives.
With pen in hand, it's easier to figure out what's going on up here. Compassion is enhanced. Just a few walks in someone else's shoes. Awareness expanding. I can see all the sides now. Empathy resonates. I feel for you, you feel for me. Awakening the soul, refreshed. Editors, publishers, readers, but writers just the same.
Thank you, that's cool. I've never seen something like that, so I really haven't, so that was awesome. I have Kitty still, and Mike, did you have anything?
How hostile by people. I'm reading Friday. Oopsie. Yes. Yeah.
Lorraine called this morning. It's been 2 years in most of the world's time, but not for the Gold Star mothers. She's still struggling to find life beyond that moment when the car doors opened in her driveway to reveal the full dress uniform. And now, since the world has been moving forward in time, she's called to tell me there are 2 new Gold Star mothers within a few miles of her home. Will South Dakota be able to fill its quota of bright, strong leaders who need to be sacrificed in order to keep America sleepy and safe? We've never met. I sent her a card after the deployment was over, letting her know I hadn't forgot about her family and their sacrifice, that their loss would always be a part of my story too. I sent 30 postcards. And after that, Lorraine started calling occasionally, mostly to ask for an update on my son-in-law, where he was in life, his marriage, his career. Sometimes she would ask the most perilous question, like between us. Did my son-in-law know her son? And we both know I have no answer to it. Today she's angry. She opened the packet of pictures the Army left with her of her son in his casket. And there's too much pain and too many unanswered questions, and she hopes I will listen and not put up any rules between what she feels and what the rest of the world expects of her right now. The Army brought him home, the promise that all soldiers hold sacred, and they stayed with her through the services, but they've moved on to other families and other services, week by week. And she asks me, how could anyone know it was him? How is she to reconcile with this mass of unrecognizable stuff? And my mind races with snippets from the one news article my son-in-law did share with me, written by their embedded journalist. An explanation on the realities of letting hot masses of steel burn for days before they're safe to approach. Things better left unsaid. She still hears him in the kitchen, and she replays the unfinished sentences, the quiet conversations about what if, that of course never mention the words what if. Those words can't be said, and no one wants to open the door to the unthinkable. This leads to a complex overlapping of nonverbal and discrete messages about love and hopes and fears and recalls of precious shared memories or planned futures that can be hinted at but cannot be said. All but the simplest of phrases are suspect in those precious 10 days of lead time before deployment. Words carry power and superstition, and they become too ugly. It can never be goodbye, always see you soon. It can never be time to ponder, oh, I've always wanted to do this with you, or I wondered what you thought about this. And Lorraine is now in a frenzy to piece together those tiny pieces of conversation from her memory. Did she say enough? Too little? We were both at the deployment ceremony. We may have been sitting near each other in the crowd of families and loved ones. We share a memory of sitting in the bleachers while a commander presented a PowerPoint on the mission and its dangers, a large gymnasium filled with soldiers standing in formation with a floor-to-ceiling American flag hanging behind them. There might have been a band. We now can share the undercurrent of fear and knowledge that everyone
except the youngest of children in that gymnasium knew. This was a very dangerous mission. Not every soldier would be returning to this same gymnasium under this same hanging sky. She asks about the homecoming ceremony, and it's in that instant I realize, of course, she wasn't there. This ceremony that was delayed for many hours while thousands of family members waited in that same gymnasium with the flag. The torturous ceremony where our soldiers walked in, exhausted and beaten down, and stood silently in formation for what seemed like hours, while the commander presented a PowerPoint on the events, the statistics, the success of the mission. We sang a song, stood up, sat down, babies wailed, startling twins. And then finally, the soldiers were released from their formation to be charged by shrieking lovers, wives, children, and mothers who believed they would never hold their loved one again. Lorraine didn't attend that ceremony. Why had I never thought about it? We all received emails week by week, a tally of which families were no longer part of our wake, a list of soldiers' names and their hometowns and their closest loved ones. And what happened, you see, is that week by week, I followed the emails and became weaker and more desperate. I became very aware that humanity is powerless to change the direction of the violence of war. I added quiet and horrible prayers to my daily routine, and I'm a person who doesn't believe in prayer. But if it could be her son, then by default, please don't let it be mine. It's as if we were in a cosmic game of cakewalk, the music starting and stopping at a violently random pace over and over and over for 10 months, all mostly happening while we slept in the Western Hemisphere. Week by week, we mothers, lovers, and wives walked this cakewalk, and one by one we were being eliminated. Please let it be her son instead of mine. My family will survive. It's not. I want Lorraine to call again. I assure her that I will always listen and that she needn't say much because I feel those same horrible scars of pain and loss which can be brought to the surface in an instant. And I don't want Lorraine to call again. I want to begin living this life I stole from her, but it's not working out as I planned. It's too hard that I am Lorraine and she is not.
That was moving. Curtis has something he wants to share.
And I'm gonna keep on my phone on the floor all night long. Just real quick, I did want to share that about this Friday night. Mike will be the featured author at Ellen Plum's. I believe you're there 5-ish, am I right? And then you'll be reading, yeah, and you'll read at 5:30, and then at 6 o'clock is open mic, and the hosts for open mic, Amy Sage Webb and Rosalie Krieger from ESU's English Modern Languages and Journalism. So it'll be a great night. We'd love to see everybody over there at Ellen Plum's this Friday for First Friday.
Well, I'm not sure how to close on these, so I'll just say it's so cool to be a part of this and to be able to listen to so many people that have amazing words to share. It's a blessing. So it's cool to be a part of it. This was fun.
Thanks
So
for
thanks.
seeing you. Yeah.